You want to have people start.
Okay, well, you know what, folks? Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 8th ROSC meeting of the Macoupin Montgomery County ROSC. I am Brian Polo. I'm really glad to be with you all today. For the folks in the room, we're having some major technical glitches with the system here at the hospital, so we'll be working off the laptops. We'll go ahead and get our laptops up and running if you don't, and we'll get everything pulled up. I guess to go ahead and get started, I'm going to go ahead and have people start making introductions. I will go ahead this time and we'll work on the people online first. So over to my right is Chief Haley first. If you could introduce yourself. You're muted.
There we go. I'm Dave Haley, Chief Police in Carlinville.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Police in Carlinville, Dave Haley. Chaz?
Hi, Chaz Swearingen with Lincoln Prairie Behavioral Health Center.
Okay, thank you, Chaz. Chaz Swearingen, Lincoln Prairie Behavioral Health Center in Springfield. Orville, sir?
Orville Mercer, Vice President, Chestnut Health Systems.
Orville Mercer, Chestnut Health Systems. Deborah, please.
Hi, I'm Deborah Rome-Hilt, and I was invited by Brian. I am part of the AA and NA groups in Montgomery County.
Thank you. So our friend Deborah Rome-Hilt from Macoupin, Montgomery County, she is a ally of recovery and active in the 12-step community. Well, Terry just popped on. Terry Lane, if you want to introduce yourself, please.
I'm Terry Lane at Lewis and Clark Community College, Career and Veteran Services.
Thank you, Terry. So Terry Lane from Lewis and Clark Community College, Veteran Services. Miss Corinne, please.
Hi, I'm Corinne Briscoe, the Director of Probation and Court Services in Macoupin, Greene, Scott. I also am the coordinator of the Macoupin and Greene County Drug Courts.
Very good. Thank you, Corinne. And Donna Nalick.
Hi, everybody. Donna Nalick with Chestnut Health Systems.
Thank you, Donna. Megan.
Jamie Bailey and Sandy Teichman from the Calhoun County Health Department. We were invited by Julie Pullman.
Very good. Thank you. And we're glad to have you. Miss Bonnie, please.
I'm Bonnie Goodwin. I'm a recovery support here. Not really working anywhere right now, but I'm on the board for ODAT in Christian County. So I'm just here, been hanging out, checking out what's happening with you guys.
Very good. Glad you're with us. Miss Crystal.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Crystal. I am a social work student intern with the Macoupin County Public Health Department from WashU. Nice to meet everyone.
Thank you, Crystal. Miss Katie, please.
Hey everyone, Katie McKenna, Vice President of ODAT Recovery Solutions out of Christian and Shelby County.
Very good. Thank you, Katie. Miss Obia.
Hello, everyone. I'm also an intern from WashU at MCPHD.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Ron, please. Ron.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. My name is Ron. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator for the Greene County Health Department.
Very good. Thank you, Ron. Molly, please.
Yep, I'm just the Public Health Administrator at Greene County Health Department.
Thank you, Molly. And you're not just a public health director. And I have a 618877 number, please.
Me, Orville.
Oh, hi, Orville. You're special enough to be here twice. So, and now I'm going ahead and we'll start introducing around the room, and I'll start at the far side with you, please. Excellent. Very good. Very good. Mr. Jack?
Jack Wise, I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous down in Garage.
Very good. Miss Dixie?
Dixie Gage. I'm a retired teacher, but I am on the Macoupin County Drug Court, and also for the past 19 years have run the Families Anonymous group that meets for the northern part of Macoupin County and Burton, Illinois.
Very good. Thank you, Dixie. Miss Janelle?
Janelle Robinson, Center for Behavioral Youth and Medicine, St. Paul Memorial Hospital.
Very good. Miss
Blackson, I'm a participant of the Montgomery County Drug Court and have a year and 4 months training.
Very good. Oh, are we doing a micro? Oh, we got a microphone, folks. Let's see how this goes.
Pam Scott. I am the founder of the SAD page, Standing Against Addiction to Drugs, and I've been in recovery since 2007.
Thank you, Pam.
Eric Hunter, CRSS Crossover Ministries, and 2.5 years lived experience.
Very good. Thank you, Erica.
Ben Loftus, AANA, in recovery since 2016.
Wow. Thank you, Ben.
Kevin Schott, Director of Montgomery County Emergency Management Agency.
Very good.
Ron Howard, I'm Program Director for Montgomery County's Mobile Crisis Response Team.
Very good. Thank you, Ron.
Lindsay Minor, Recovery Care Coordinator for Macoupin and Montgomery County, and I also run the Safe Passage Program for Macoupin and Montgomery County. You've shown, and I am with you, partner. Yeah. I'm Julia Butler. I'm a research assistant at SLU and project coordinator of the grants. I am Becky Hatley. I'm Assistant Director of Clinical Services for Macoupin County Public Health Department and the project director for the RCOR implementation grant. Hi, I'm Carissa Vandenberg Clark. I'm faculty over at St. Louis University, and I'm evaluator of the RCOR grant and also help with training and a whole bunch of other things. I am Kelly Jefferson. I am a family support group facilitator for Southwestern Illinois and also a facilitate family to family classroom. Hi, I'm Chris Ann Smith, and I'm Executive Director of NAMI, Southwestern Illinois.
Very good. And that's oh, wait a minute. We got one more person here.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Karen. I am the new ROSC coordinator for Macoupin and Montgomery County.
Thank you, everyone. I'm pulling up the slideshow. Oh, you're pulling up the slideshow?
No, go ahead.
Okay, I'm pulling up the slideshow.
Don't know if everyone saw, but there is a sign-up sheet going around. If you haven't signed in, can you please sign in? That way we have your information, and it just keeps track of our numbers and who all attended.
Okay. No, I do not need the mic. Okay. So we got our kind of introduced to everybody. We sent out the minutes from the last meeting, and I was wondering if everyone got a chance to look over those, and is there someone willing to start going ahead and approving the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Anyone second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Yay, consensus. Okay, we have a very, very packed full agenda today, so I'm going to actually zip through things and get to our main speaker pretty soon here. So just a very quick update on Safe Passage in St. Francis Way from maybe Becky, from Elise Lindsay. How's it going?
We are up to 26 access points across the city of Montgomery County. And actually, we're gonna add one more. We met with the chief of Wilsonville, who also is the chief of Colquhoun. And also, he is with Donaldson. So we're gonna add them to it also. So, hopefully Gerard, Burden, and the Comas. We're gonna meet them hopefully this week or next week and get them on as well. And they just keep coming. At this point, I feel like some of them are reaching out to us saying, can we please? Which one of them was Montgomery County Sheriff. So that's a big deal for us that he agreed to be an access point for us as well. In March, we used from 3 officials and 7 officials. Yeah. Did everybody hear that? Go ahead. Okay, 30, we gave 33. We gave treatment to 33 clients of Macoupin and Montgomery County. And 72% either went inpatient or outpatient. So that's a big deal. That's actually, we're reaching way further than we were just a couple of months ago. We were maybe topping out at 22. So now we're doubling that, plus more people are getting services at this point. More people are agreeing to go. I think before it was like 15% out of 20 people. Now it's 72 out of 40. So that's pretty incredible.
Pretty high rate. Thank you so much, folks. And then one other announcement we have is this Saturday is National Prescription Drug Take Back Day. And we have on the slide our sites where you can drop your prescriptions off to that are not being used. And that's going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And many of these sites are actually available more than just this coming Saturday. Chief Riker, you will be at Walmart, I understand, in Litchfield?
Somebody wearing this shirt will be.
Somebody will be there. So Walmart in Litchfield, it's the place to go on Saturday. Be there.
Brian, you might want to call off the rest because people can't see them here.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So, so the other places that you can do this is Burden, their police department does accept. Carlinville, the sheriff's department and police department, Gillespie Police Department and Michelle's Pharmacy, Mount Olive Police Department, Bunker Hill Police Department and Michelle's Pharmacy. Chief Riker, Litchfield Police Department has a box or no? Okay. Very good. So Walgreens in Litchfield. Hillsborough, I believe, has one in City Hall. Guessing, yeah. And Montgomery County Jail. Thank you so much. Sullivan's Health Mart and Pharmacy in Litchfield, and I think we just covered them. So again, drug take back Saturday. Let's see what's next on our agenda. Announcements. Okay. So our announcement slide is starting to get full, folks. Things coming up is we do have 3 webinars in May that you now have access to watch. And if there are CEUs, you're welcome to them. The Recovery Community Organization, Amare, has a town hall meeting on the 12th. And again, in your slideshow that you were all sent, you can click on a link and it will take you straight to the page where they will have the details. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Crossover Ministries, I was just mentioning, I could almost fill a page with everything they're doing at this point, but the big thing I emphasize is their Strengthening Families program is starting, and this is the 3rd leg of a series of programs to try to help starting at a youth age and then the family in general. And then one other little thing I kind of tossed up there is there's a lot of 12-step community in our area, and AA is a pretty big program, and AA's big thing, their big thing of all their big things is their Founders Day is coming up in June, 10th through the 12th. That's in Akron, Ohio. And that is where the founder, one of the founders of AA is from. And there's a lot of activities that go along there in Akron for that 3-day period. We have our Al-Anon meeting Thursday night at Crossover Ministries, going strong. We have our Emotions Anonymous meeting going strong right here in Litchfield at Beacon Church. And it is hybrid now. We sent out the link earlier, actually about a week ago, we sent out the link that it is hybrid. So if you can't come in person, you're welcome to hop online and do it. I've done a couple of those meetings myself. And so that is our announcements. And so I think we are at that magical point that we're going straight into it now. So I'm going to play a quick video about Recovery Capital. And this kind of ties in with kind of what we do.
Got it? Okay. Remember, you have to stop sharing and share again.
What's that?
You have to stop sharing and share again so that they can see the screen.
Thank you. Okay. And Chris, I could probably use a little assistance. Thank you. Okay.
Where does all go? Is this on? Shared? Let's do this real quick.
Stop share.
Have sound on this though. So annoying. It's not getting sound. It's not going to matter. It has to get sound from here, and it's not making sound. I think you're going to need to skip the video.
Okay.
These people aren't going to be able to see it.
Okay. So we're going ahead and not do the video for now. It is in your slideshow for today, so you can go back and watch it. It deals on Recovery Capital. And at this point, actually, we'll go back and we'll review Recovery Capital at some point going forward. Okay. So Recovery Capital, basically Recovery Capital is the resources or capital a person needs depending on their condition for them to obtain and maintain recovery. Recovery Capital is kind of what we're building here with this council now, is we're trying to get those supports in place so someone that wants to can achieve recovery and maintain it. There are 4 different types of Recovery Capital. First one's called Personal Recovery Capital, and it's their actual physical and human capital, basic needs, healthcare, financial resources, clothing, food, shelter, transportation. That's the physical capital. The human capital is personal ability, skills, knowledge, problem-solving, education, credentials, self-esteem, the ability to navigate challenging situations and achieve goals, learning interpersonal skills, and having a sense of meaning and purpose of their life. The second type of recovery capital is family or social recovery capital, and these are resources related to intimate relationships with friends and family, relationships with people and recovering supportive partners, and it includes the availability of recovery-related social events. community, the third type of recovery capital is community recovery capital. And then it's more along the lines of those attitude, policies, and resources specifically related to helping individuals resolve substance use disorders. They're pretty vast, and there's a whole list of what they can include. And then finally, the last type of recovery capital is what's called cultural capital. And these resources resonate with individuals' cultural and faith-based beliefs, such as resources for Native Americans, Christians, Islamic, and Jewish people. And what it comes down to is, with our council, we are looking at what's out there recovery capital wise and what could we have in our area, what could be built. And that kind of leads us to our main speaker today. And what the topic's going to be is our area, those social support groups, a lot of it is all tied into 12-step. AA, NA, Celebrate Recovery, Families Anonymous, and Al-Anon. And we'll go over those groups after our speaker, a little bit of what we got going on. But I want to take a moment and go ahead and introduce our main speaker today. She's been with us before. She is a member of the council. Her name is Christine Gam-Smith. She is the executive director for NAMI. For Southwestern Illinois. She is a counselor, and she has had a long career helping others. And so I'd like to go ahead and turn the floor over to Christine, and it's all yours.
I'll use this because, is it on?
It should turn on. Oh, great, the battery's flashing.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. You can start. And I'll just.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to thank Brian for inviting me to speak. And I'm gonna take this down.
Yeah, you can take that.
It'd be easier to talk with you this way. And I tend to talk softly at times, so that's why I want that microphone, just in case. But I want to thank Brian for inviting us to be able to talk with you about NAMI, talk with you about what we do. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And we also wanted to just do kind of a brief introduction to what recovery is all about. And from our point of view, because we're dealing with people that have both mental health conditions and substance use. And although we probably share this definition, I think it's important to make sure we're on the same page. And so I wanted to talk about what it means and a little bit about how we go about using our support groups to achieve what recovery is all about. When people are in recovery, they're in there voluntarily. We're talking about people receiving support and providing support at the same time by sharing their knowledge, sharing their experiences, being able to talk about and share coping strategies, and offering understanding and acceptance, which is really the biggest piece of it, I think. Because in NAMI, we know that people feel alone. And one of our mottos is, you are not alone. And that's an important thing. It's a simple thing that we need to remind people of all the time, that when you come to our group, you're no longer alone with your illness. You're no longer alone with your substance use. You are there to share and feel a part of things and be accepted. Recovery is really a process of change, and where we really help people to improve their health and wellness, where we help them to live a more self-directed lifestyle and strive to reach their full potential. So that's really where we come from when we talk about recovery. And of course, peer support, we talk about the process of giving and receiving non-professional and non-clinical assistance. It's different than treatment. We always have to remind people when they call in, we have a helpline, and they'll start talking to us about what's going on. And we have to remind them that we're not a crisis service and we're not a treatment center. We're there to provide support. So if they need support, we've got those services available. If they don't, we refer them to the appropriate places for treatment or whatever. And it's really just peer support is just one aspect of peer support services. We're seeing more and more that peer support is getting integrated into a lot of behavioral health programs and in unique ways. And I think that's wonderful because that's a piece that's different from obviously working with just treatment providers, because you're working with people alongside people who have been there, done that, and are really understanding of what you're going through and can share that with you. And it makes all the difference in the world. A support group's really about reconnecting and with other people and sharing sensitive information that we value is very important to keep confidential. We stress that in all of our events that we have, all our programs. And one of the things that we found is how difficult it is for people in more rural areas to feel comfortable coming to group because of the confidentiality, because they could be sitting with their neighbor or sitting with their relative or somebody that they know, and they're very concerned about sharing personal information. And I'll tell you, I think that Zoom has, well, in the whole virtual world, has had a positive impact in involving more people from different areas because they can turn off the camera, they can not put their name online and just sit and listen or talk when they feel comfortable. So we do a lot of that. And really, we're talking about, it's okay to take things slowly in a support group and participating. We don't push people. We don't tell them they have to participate. We're very careful to talk with them about, you do it at your own pace when you feel comfortable sharing. There's a lot to learn just by listening. And let me tell you a little bit about NAMI. And after I speak, I want to introduce somebody that's special to us that I know is going to share a little bit of her own testimony about how support groups have impacted her life. But NAMI was founded back in the late 70s. And it literally started with a bunch of women sitting around a table talking about their son or their daughter or their spouse or whatever who was struggling with mental illness. And they really felt lost as to how to understand it, what to do with it. And so that's how the roots of it began. And since then, NAMI has expanded to over 1,000 affiliates across the states. And within Illinois, we have 20 affiliates. NAMI is structured as a 3-tier system, if you will. There's NAMI National, which is our umbrella organization, and where a lot of the research comes from and a lot of our group development comes from. And then there's NAMI at a state level, and we have one here in Illinois, NAMI Illinois, and they really work more closely with us in terms of, talking about the issues that we need or what our needs are, what our experiences are. And we work with them more closely. And then there's the affiliates, of which we are NAMI Southwestern Illinois, one of those affiliates. And we serve 6 counties. We serve, at this point, Macoupin and Randolph. We serve St. Clair County. We serve Madison County, Bond County, and Clinton County. And we're more active in some than others, only because we've had to really take things slowly. We need more people to be involved as we expand ourselves, but we are really interested in working here in Macoupin and Montgomery. In fact, we've had, whoops, something happened.
It gave me 3 batteries and all 3 of them I think are dead.
Oh, no.
You can try. Let's see.
Okay, we'll try one more. But anyway, I'll try to shout. Can you hear me? Okay. My husband always says, Chris, you start talking and you fade out. So remind me if I'm fading out. But we really want to serve this county in Montgomery, because we found that we do have some people who attend from Montgomery, and we've had some people who've attended our groups from Macoupin just because we've had it virtually. But we want to move in and really be a part of things here, especially with our family support. So as I talk about it, I want you to keep in mind that, we have different programs and what might be useful here in your area that you could use. We have for parents and loved ones, okay, that can be a spouse, it can be a relative of some kind, or it could be a friend, as well as a parent. And for that particular group, we have a number of services that we offer, from support groups, which you'll be hearing about more. We have a program called Basics for families and youth. We have really 5 different programs for families. We have one called Family to Family, which is an excellent education class that actually I'm involved with right now. And so I'm taking it personally, and I can tell you it's really a just chock full of information about mental health conditions and about strategies for how to approach dealing with your loved one and how to understand what's going on with them, and also about resources. It's a great program. It's an 8-week program, and it's really dedicated to helping people leave with a good feeling, a good sense of what's going on and how to manage their lives. And I have heard numerous people say that it's been a life-changing program for them, because it really gave them a perspective that they didn't have before. And it's not about how to control your loved one or fix them. It's about how to deal with yourselves. How do you understand, and what is best for you in trying to live with them or be involved with them and understand what they're going through. Then we also have a program called Family and Friends, which is a shorter version of Family to Family, which is a new upcoming program for us. We have a program called Sharing the Hope, and that's really designed for minorities, and it's more sensitive to some of the barriers that exist in different cultures, and talks about just the hope and the need to encourage and to be a part of the whole process of helping people recover. Then we have programs for youth. We have programs called Ending the Silence, which is for middle school and high school age kids. We actually go into the school and we have people with lived experience present, and they talk about their own recovery experience. They share a lot of good mental health information about mental health conditions and how to seek help and why it's important to seek help. And we have another program called In Our Own Voice, which is a program that can go out to groups of youth as well as actually anybody, general public. And it's a program where people with lived experience share their own recovery stories. We have a program called FaithNet, which is a program where we go into churches and present to them on issues related to mental health. And part of this is really trying to educate for the sake of reducing the stigma and helping people understand what it really means to have a mental health condition, what it really means to have a mental illness. And especially in a situation where it's also complicated by substance use. And we're going to be starting up soon a support group for teenagers and a support group for college students. So that's something we're looking forward to putting into place in these next 6 months. We have a program for veterans and their families, and for their loved ones, and it's called Homefront. And that program will soon have a support group for veterans as well, which we're planning on implementing in the next couple of months. And in that, I took that program as well. My daughter was in the Air Force, and I really wanted to understand some of the issues she was going through. And I wanted to know what the program is like, because I want to be able to talk about something with a real experience. And I'll tell you what, it's an 8-week course, and it is 6 weeks, I think, I'm sorry. And it is one of the best programs as well. For the information packets are like this thick. You get that much information in the course of that time. And they go over everything that's related to and unique to being in the military and dealing with mental health conditions like PTSD or whatever. And so we're real excited about starting up a support group for veterans. And then we have programs for adults 18 years and up who have mental health conditions and substance use. We have support groups for them. We have peer-to-peer classes, which are education classes for people living with the illness. And we're also going to be implementing in fact, in conjunction with an RA, we're going to be implementing a dual diagnosis group, support group, which we're very excited about, because that is really a unique situation. You're dealing with 2 major issues at one time. And how do you approach that when you've got somebody who's living with, say, severe depression or bipolar illness or whatever, schizophrenia, anxiety disorders? How do you work with that when they're using substances at the same time that they're experiencing the illness? And there's unique ways to deal with that. And there are models that talk about the best ways to go about working with people with both of those disorders. And so we're real excited about starting that up soon. And that should be starting up within the next couple of months. One of the neat things about our services is they're all free. They don't have to pay anything. They don't have to have insurance to come to our groups, our support groups. They come to our classes and our support groups, and money is not a barrier. That's why we have it that way, because we don't want the need to have financial resources to be a barrier for getting the help that they need. But we have costs for operation, we have costs for training and travel and all sorts of things. So we do have costs associated, but not for the consumer, which I really enjoy that's not an issue for us. But our funding does come from places like donations. We seek a lot in donations from various and sundry sources. 708 boards, we have 3 708 boards right now from St. Clair, Madison, and Randolph that are funding programs in their areas so that they can have, their consumers can have access to it. And so we get some United Way funding as well. We are very, very big on advocacy and fighting stigma. That is probably the central theme of what NAMI is all about, is dealing with that stigma and being in the forefront of fighting it at all levels, whether it be legislative, whether it be in the general public, whether it be even with some providers. We have a program called Provider Education, where we reach out to different groups that are working with people with these disorders, and we talk to them about what it's like to be a family member, what mental illness looks like, or what their problems look like from a parent's point of view, and what they go through, what parents go through, how they struggle. And it's very educational, and it's a panel presentation. So you hear from both the parent, you hear from a person who's living with whatever the disorder is, and you also hear from a provider. And that's really helpful, because I think one of the problems we have in dealing with dual diagnosis is understanding both pieces. of both the substance use and the mental health conditions, and how to work with those interchangeably, and what kind of resources you need to really try to get people into treatment and getting into helping themselves. Another thing we're very, very active in is jail diversion strategies. And NAMI's been working for a good 2.5 years on this issue of how to help people divert from being put in jail for nuisance crimes or, crimes that are not of a serious nature, and at the same time, get them treatment, because we know the jails are overcrowded. We know that they don't want to have to handle it, but unfortunately, over the years, jails have become another treatment center for individuals, or another place to go and be confined. And sometimes they don't get the treatment they need for various reasons. It's just hard to do that in that kind of setting. So we have been working closely with law enforcement. We've been working closely with other key stakeholders like probation, parole, whatever the case, and we pull people together. And you know what the changes are going on in Illinois right now with our crisis response teams and a whole new system of managing crises. So that's been very important. Our signature programs, which is the programs I've mentioned, are all very carefully crafted to reflect best practices in the field. And so our support, education, and advocacy is all designed around what we know to be the best practices, even if it's anecdotal and not totally researched. We know that support groups, for instance, really help. And we're not a 12-step model, but we have a structure to our support groups, which is a lot like 12-step. And I just want to end with saying that we have some really great educational programs, and we want to share that knowledge as well as share our support groups. And we want to help people to learn how to manage behavioral issues such as crisis intervention and non-compliance with treatment, suicidal behavior. Those kind of issues are addressed in many of our classes. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to somebody who's been living with this within their family and has used the services of NAMI and is actually one of our rock stars, if you will, her and her husband. So
Thanks. Yeah, my name's Kelly. I guess I'll just start from the beginning. Our son was diagnosed 11 years ago with schizoaffective disorder. And when he was going into his sophomore year of college. And as you can imagine, as a parent, finding out that your son has not really your son anymore, and how devastating that can be, and to grieve the loss of how you had already pictured his life to be, to go on to, he did graduate high school, but he will not graduate college. He will probably never know being married or having children or anything like that. Just the whole loss of that. And then also having him live with us, and how our home got disrupted, how it physically affected me. I ended up with an ulcer, couldn't sleep at night. My husband and I were up all night worrying about what he was doing and what he was destroying in our home. So it was pretty devastating for us. And I met and got in touch with NAMI and was offered, first we were offered family to family. It was, at that time, it was a 12-week course. And as Chris mentioned, we were thinking it was going to give us ways to change our son, to change how he was doing things, to make it so that he would want to get treatment. But actually what it was changing our mindset as a family and as a mom and dad. What do we do to help our son to navigate through the system? How do we understand what he is going through and have empathy for what he is experiencing and how can we advocate for him. So through Family to Family, and then we got involved with support group, and it really helped. It, like Chris said, that you walk in and the first tenet that you learn is that you're not alone. When you look around a room and you see 12 other families that are affected by this, and you're like, oh my God, we aren't alone. There is other people who are dealing with what we're dealing with. It was amazing for us because we had lost and isolated ourselves. We lost our church family. We lost childhood friends and family that our son had grown up with. We lost all that support. Our own families were saying that we were being plagued by his mental illness. We didn't, his drug abuse, his mental illness. They thought it was all just a way for him so that he didn't have to go to school and he didn't have to work. And so here we are 11 years later. He will be 31 next week. He still lives with us. My husband and I feel very, we were so well supported in our first years of crisis that we just want to be able to give back to other families who are going through what we went through, and to be able to share with them that there is hope, that there is recovery available. It may be a different kind of recovery than what you thought you were going to see, but there is recovery. He still lives at home with us. There are rules for him to live at home with us. That's one thing NAMI did teach us, was boundaries, how to protect ourselves. And also to set down guidelines for him for if he wants to be part of the family. These are things that he has to do, and he has to go to the doctor. He has to take his meds. He has to participate in being family again, that he can't just isolate away from us. And, it's wonderful for us to have the opportunity to give back and help others. And when we get the phone call and someone wants to come to support group, and you can hear the panic in their voice, you hear the what are we going to do next, and how do we survive this? Is there survival? Is there another side of this? And to be able to offer them hope and to let them know that they're not alone and that there is help out there has really just helped my husband and I to be better support to our son and a better advocate for him, but also to help others so that they're not alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, everyone. And I really appreciate what you shared today. Just to go back a little bit, I have friends around the table that came specifically because they are part of the fellowships, whether it be family related, individuals themselves, or believe it or not, there's some of us that are members of both the family program and the other programs. And we fit. So I just kind of wanted to share a little bit. We spoke about recovery capital. It's those supports to help people maintain a good life. It's not a good way of putting it, maybe, despite their disease, despite what's going on in their lives. And support groups are so important. I don't think I have to say it, but I'm going to say it because I know that when I first got in recovery myself, I was very isolated. Christine and Kelly, much as you shared, it was also my family. I didn't really have relations with a whole lot of people at that point. And I pursued support groups. I was very blessed to have some people in my life that said, look, you're going to need help or you're not going to be around. My support groups, my NA, my AA family, and eventually my Al-Anon family became where I learned to interact with people again. And, you start learning to interact with people. You never know what's going to be the next step. And I'm standing before you today, pretty functional most days here, and very grateful for where I'm at with you all today. I just wanted to mention very quickly. So in our area, in the 2 counties, we have about 20 meetings. Those meetings include Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Al-Anon, Emotions Anonymous, Families Anonymous, Celebrate Recovery, and Grief Share. There are still a lot of other support type programs out there. There is things called Refuge Recovery, Smart Recovery. There's Alateen. There's ACA, which is Adult Children of Alcoholics. Naranon, which is family members for people struggling with narcotics. SOS Recovery, parents of addicted loved ones, moderation management. Winner Circle, Rational Recovery, and NAMI support groups. And that all came from Faces and Voices of Recovery, which is a big advocacy organization for folks in recovery. 20 groups. We have a wide range of programs, but I'm giving you all some homework, you online too, over the next month. I would like you guys to be thinking and looking, and your slide deck is some of these other recovery programs. And also in your email that was sent out was a list of all the 12-step meetings, all the family programs and where they're at. My homework that I'm asking for you guys is, would you like to see any other of these programs started in our area? And whether it be those programs or the ones that we already have, but not in a certain town, I'd like you to throw us an email, send us a note, call me. Again, I think most of you guys know me and have multiple ways to contact me, but I would like you guys to take a look and see if there's something we could do, because this council, one of the things is we're going to be working. We're not going to just be sitting around talking month after month. We're actually going to have work with results. And I think support groups is a way that we can work together to start making our area a little healthier and providing more resources for not just the individuals struggling, but for the family members too. You know, when I got into recovery initially, I still had some emotional issues and stuff. And I thought it was about the people that was around me, but I found out it was about myself. And for me, Al-Anon helped me. AA and NA helped me find my recovery, but Al-Anon helped me find my serenity. And, you know, that serenity even carries a day like today where our system completely failed and, you know, got through the meeting and I'm smiling under this mask. So again, I want to thank you all. And Corinne, are you still there by chance?
I am.
Can I go ahead and announce next month?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so guys, if you come back next month, Corinne Briscoe from Macoupin County Probation and Drug Court will be our main speaker. And I look forward to whatever she has to share coming up. So since we don't have the big screen, John, I was wondering if you'd want to come up and give us our moment of wellness before we take off for the day.
Sure.
Thank you. And I appreciate everyone here today. Thank you so much.
In the early 70s, there was a study done by psychologists. And what they were trying to discern was the effects of urban stress. So what they did was they put a whole group of participants in a room and they tasked you with putting together puzzles. And while you were doing the puzzles, they would have tons of things going on in the background. A lot of music, lots of distractions, tons of things happening around you. And what they would do was they were monitoring your heart rate, your blood pressure, and things like that. For a very small portion of the participants, what they handed them was a panic button. And they said, hey, while you're doing this, if you want everything to stop, all you have to do is press that button. And all these distractions will kind of go away. The surprising part about this study was that none of the participants that had the panic button actually used it. But when they monitored their heart rate and their stress and their blood pressure, it was significantly lower than the participants that did not have the button. A lot of people came to this conclusion. The idea was that we are capable of handling tough things and stress. But what makes the difference is having some form of panic button that we know if things get too much, we can press it and help is right around the corner. It's exactly what we heard with NAMI, right? When somebody says the phrase, me too, or I'm not alone. It's the idea that even though my world is chaotic, I know that I have something that I can hit or that I can press, and it's going to be okay. This is what happens through this network, right? I love the amount of text that happened in between members of this group to connect with each other to try to solve problems that maybe we wouldn't have been able to solve before. It happens in the form, it's actually, I read about this study in a book called Option B, okay? If you are interacting with anybody who handles any form of loss or grief, it's a phenomenal book. The idea is when option A isn't available, you try to kick the hell out of option B, okay? One of the professors, his option B is at the beginning of the semester, he writes his cell phone number on the board. Doesn't know if any of the students are ever going to use it, yet a student commits suicide and said, you know what, I just want to offer students a button just in case they ever need to do it. So my encouragement for you is whatever your field is, try to offer a button. Most of you are already that for somebody, whether you know it or not. So if you are, thank you for doing that. And as we continue to do that, we can just help people that may feel isolated and alone with a chaotic world around them. That's my moment alone.
Thank you, John. Okay, my friends online, my friends in person, thank you so much for the time today. I hope you come away with this with a little something. And with that, we are good till May. So have a great day, everyone. Bye now.
Thank you, guys.